head across to Agam to find out how exactly today's closing is panning out. And Agam, what a day, what a start to this new week, new financial year, and also the first trading day of the April series.
Certainly, Navneet. We began this session by asking whether or not the Nifty will conquer 10,200. Well, that's come about. So as you can see, it's advanced by as much as 1%, and we have seen that level come through as well. Coming down to the Sensex, again up as much as 0.9%. We're looking at gains there. The only reason why the Nifty Bank has not advanced as much as the benchmarks is, well, perhaps the pressure that we've seen in ICICI and Axis Bank, and I'll come down to that. Let's also address the broader markets, and as you can see here, the mid-cap has advanced and outperformed the benchmarks up as much as 1.8%, and the same for the small cap index as well, and the BSE mid cap also advancing by as much as 0.4%. Let's go across and take a look at what's happening with the stocks, and as you can see in the gainers, we do have gains coming in for Adani Ports, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Tata Motors DVR, along with several other auto companies, as one might imagine. Because of the strong auto sales that we've seen. There's weakness seeping in only in case of ICICI Bank and Axis Bank, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, some amount of weakness in coming in SEBI, SBI. But on the whole, it's looking good, and it is going to be the auto sectors that is going to take the cake in today's day of trade.
Agam, it was a great session for the broader markets. There were a whole host of stocks which saw a good amount of buying momentum. Let me start off with Jai Bharat Maruti. Remember, the March sales numbers have been good for automakers, but the rally was not only restricted to the automakers, it was extended for the auto ants as well. So Jai Bharat Maruti locked in upper circuit with gains of 20%. You also had stocks like Escorts, which is there in the futures and options market. That saw a good amount of long build-up. Escorts finally closing around the day's high mark with gains of 8%, and also something like Jamna Auto, that too surged in today's session. So that's closing around the levels of 84. Well, I think in just last half an hour of trade, Imami Infra, that stock went up, and I think it did see an upper circuit limit. So 20% higher, it's closing around that mark as well at around 288. Besides that, Hexaware, a counter, one of the top F&O gainers for the day. Good amount of momentum seen for Hexaware, buying seen for this one. 11% higher, closing at day's high is always a positive sign. India Cements, that was a technical call given by Himain also. India Cements did pretty well, closing around the mark of 152, up almost 7%. And something like Tata Global Beverages, that also surged today and surged quite significantly, 7% higher for this one too. Well, besides the auto pack, you also had the pharma stocks which bounced back in how today. So Aurobindo Pharma was your top gainer, I guess, or one of the top gainers in the Nifty Pharma Index, 6.5% higher there. Just two stocks I want to highlight on the downside is Quality. Towards the end, once again, it was locked in lower circuit. Remember, it was locked in lower circuit last week as well. So 10% lower for this one. Canfin Homes, because the deal was called off by Canara Bank to divest its stake in the company, 11.5% lower for this one. And finally, we had two new listings today. So Karda Construction, definitely not a great listing for this one. Karda Construction issue price was somewhere about 180, and the stock was down 20%, closing the day at 143 level. And the other one was the Auto and Sandhar Technologies, where the issue price was 332, and this one's also, actually it had a positive opening, but I guess there was some selling pressure seen in the second half, so that's closing around the 320 mark with cuts of nearly 4%, Agam.
Okay, so that said, I think there's very little time left for the markets to shut. There you have in just about a second. Let's pull up the key contributors. Okay, so let's have the intraday. And it's closed near the day's high, as you can see here, at around 10,200. It's again about 100 points, and very much in line with what we saw in the SGX Nifty this morning. And of course, the index itself is also up and about. Let's also pull up the contributors now and see what's happened with the Nifty 50 index and what is it that's driven the markets upwards. Lo and behold, heavyweights like HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and Reliance Industries have contributed the most. In fact, HDFC Bank contributing nearly 24 points to this gain. So that's 1/4 of the gains that we saw on the index. On the losing end, as one might expect, with the pressure coming in from ICICI Bank, and as Navneet was mentioning again in the morning, a good 4.5–5% of the weightage on the Nifty is on account of ICICI Bank. You're looking at weakness in Axis Bank as well as State Bank of India, and that's the reason why we're looking at little bit of pressure. And had we not seen these cuts, experts, well, it would have been a much better day today going in.
Well, I want to check how the turnover panned out. I remember you were mentioning when the show started. So definitely the NSE F&O turnover basically on day one of the new series, we don't see higher turnover. So it's 3.7 lakh crore. NSE cash managed, once again, I think it's come down from those levels that we were seeing in the last few sessions of 38 to 39,000. So that's also 27,000. And the biggest highlight, I think, of today's trading session would be the advanced decline ratio, because we did see the broader markets inching pretty much higher, and we managed to sustain that advanced decline ratio, which has not happened actually in the recent past. Look at this. We started off with advances being more, and we actually sustained that throughout the day. So actually, it's no mean feat to sustain that advanced decline ratio of 6:1, especially when we've seen a series like March series where there were a lot of cuts seen. February was also not so good for the markets. Well, on that note, let's get you some closing thoughts going from our technical experts. I want to take the first question to Sumit. Sumit, we've had a good closing today, and it's been a great start to this new series. Let's see if the markets actually open flat today. Would you go ahead and create fresh longs in the index?
Yes, absolutely right. See, at present, index is looking good to me. I think index is headed for 10-250, 10-300 levels. Starting of the show, we mentioned that one should buy or create long positions in Nifty for the targets of 10-300 levels. We maintain same view. I think in next 1 or 2 days, we can see a move of around 80 to 100 points in Nifty. Those who have taken long positions, they should hold on the existing long positions. And if there is a dip of around 20 to 30 points from present levels, then that should be used as a buying opportunity for the upside target of 10-300 levels in next couple of days. Downside, now the next support is placed at around 10-120, 130 levels. So 10-120, 130 can be the stop loss for long positions.
Your closing thoughts? What would you do tomorrow?
No need. Everything seems hunky-dory.
But you also mentioned there's RBI policy, there could be a lot of volatility this week, and there was no selling pressure. You rightly highlighted, because people who would have bought in cash on Wednesday, they cannot sell today because of T+2.
So everything seems fine, no need, but I think it's a little bit too soon. Technical structure has shaped up well, but tomorrow I'd wait for a small cool-off coming in the morning, because US markets were also up. Good Friday holiday, Thursday they were up 250 points. So maybe a small cool-off coming in. Then individually, I think things are fine. And if there's a decline in the Nifty, I think one can go long or sell slightly out of the money puts. But VIX closed lower at 1535. But I think there could be some selling pressure and the credit policy. So I would be cautiously optimistic, but things are shaping up well.
Okay, so those are your views coming in from our technical experts, and keeping in mind the policy also which comes around this week. But we will, with that, we thank both our experts, Heyman as well as Sumit, for joining us and taking us through their views.